TripAdvisor calls us one of the top 10 ghost tours in the U.S. for good reason. Not only are our guides the best storytellers in the business, several attract a lot of things themselves. Book your tour now at ChattanoogaGhostTours.com. Chattanooga Ghost Tours offers not only award-winning tours, we are the first ghost tour in the world to offer investigations and ghost hunts using amazing tools such as the Talking Oculus and the new Ultimate Hunt with SLS Ghost Mapping.
Show yourself again?
Yes.
Book now.
Do you like the 80s? Do you like heavy metal? Do you like the dark side? Then you need to add some Trace to your spooky season with the Trace book series by Mandy L. Cantrell. It all began with Trace and the Devil. It's 1988 at Fairview High School, and bad boy Trace has found the girl of his dreams. Will she love him in return despite his dark connections? How far will he go for love? This first Trace book and the second and third are all available on Amazon and in select stores. These books are being compared to The Twilight Zone, Tales from the Crypt, Tales from the Dark Side, and Creep Show. So follow Trace if you dare. Ha 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 ha.
Welcome.
You are now entering the horror section.
Hello and welcome back to the Horror Sanctum podcast. I'm Jay with John, Kellen, and TJ. And this week we are joined by writers, actors, and directors of Heebie-Jeebie TV, which is available on Screenbox, Mr. Eric Griffin and Jake McClellan. Guys, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Hello, Horror Sanctum.
Absolutely. So Heebie-Jeebie TV is a horror comedy where goofy horror hijinks and high camp queer shenanigans ensue when some siblings get transmitted into an unsuspecting household via a retro horror TV cable box. And that's a little wordy, but like it's needed. It's just kind of like a fun anthology film. And like I said, it's available on Screenbox, which does offer a 7-day free subscription. So be sure to go check this movie out and follow along with us. And then we'll get things kicked off with Kellen.
Yeah, so I was kind of excited about doing this one when we first got the screener for it. I had no idea what it was, no clue, not even a slight recollection. And then starting to watch it, and was immediately struck by nostalgia. So I want to know, so much of this felt like 90s era kids shows done for like an adult horror fan as well. Like it had that 90s Nickelodeon feel, like the kind of more adult side of Nickelodeon, like the Goosebumps series, even the theme song and the subsequent soundtrack had a 90s, MTV kind of vibe. The commercials, the Dr. Knucklehead's DNA Splicer reminded me of Dr. Dreadful's Food Lab. So the more I watched it, the more I fell in love with this movie, just from the pure nostalgia, because it felt like somebody wrote this movie that had the same childhood as me and drew it from that. So I just wanted to see if that was part of the inspiration in the different parts of this that y'all put together.
I mean, absolutely. I think this whole thing has been just like a nostalgia jerk fest for us. And I think when the three of us, Adam's not here right now, our other co-director, but when the three of us really started working together and collaborating artistically, it was kind of that, we all had the same childhood kind of realization. And yeah, 100%, that's like where we were pulling from and really what we were aiming to do, taking these things that are very fond memories of our childhood, things that we look back on and, and kind of wonder, and how can we twist them? And like, how does that reflect the actual kind of like reality of those things? How can we twist them and make them a little more dark, a little goofier? And, kind of what does that say about where we are actually in our lives, kind of worshiping these old things that ended up just being commercials and things that were, trying to sell us stuff.
Yeah, like a lot of you said it, like Dr. Dreadful was like in my childhood. I was making them stupid little gummy worms in that little easy bake oven. Don't eat that. That's just for playing. So yeah, it's really a love letter to my childhood, our childhood, and just being marketed to in just really fun ways through film, TV, toys.
Right. Yeah. The candy corn segment specifically made me think of Pee-wee's Playhouse because of the claymation, animation, stuff like that. And I thought that was just a hilarious little joke, candy corn being the hot garbage of Halloween candy. Anybody who likes it through wrong. Sorry, your tongue's broken. But I cracked up when the kid like saw it and was like, ugh. And then he comes back for it because he's just like, might as well, and takes a bite out of it. And then it shows the candy corns try to continue singing until the blood spurts and they all freak. I love that. Was Pee Wee Herman, was Pee Wee's Playhouse, was that part of the inspiration as well? That kind of whole style of artistic expression?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I will speak for Adam in this regard, in that, yeah, we are huge fans of Paul Reubens and his work. And yeah, exactly that type of tone. Huge fans of just like his holiday specials as well. Even thinking of like the dinosaurs and the refrigerator and that type of sense too. So yeah, huge ode and love letter to Paul Reubens.
Really latching onto that theater of the absurd for children. You know, I think that's kind of like the going theme behind all these things that we're kind of pulling from and like trying to do, is just like this absurd surrealism that was meant for kids and, you know, kind of worked for kids, you know.
Yeah, and I noticed rewatching it in the scene with the two guys that are, you know, smoking weed. There's a skillet on the table with fried eggs in it, like a callback to the
barely fried
commercial.
Yeah.
The callback to the old commercial, the "Is your brain on drugs" kind of thing. I thought that was a really neat touch. There's a lot of little Easter eggs and stuff like that. So
yeah.
As far as writing a movie like this, how do you go about writing something that, obviously you wanted to touch on a lot of things, you know, doing the anthology and all the little commercials and things. How do you go about writing that to where it's not a cohesive story, but it stays in line with what the story you're trying to tell?
I think that was the tricky thing with this project, was like it didn't start as a whole. It started as pieces. You know, we originally meant this to be like a Halloween party live performance mixed media kind of thing. It turned into a movie because of COVID. You know, we didn't think we'd be able to get a bunch of people in a room to do all this goofy stuff where, like, you know, Jake has a giant TV remote and he's pushing buttons and the projectors change and we have puppets on stage, whatever. So we had all these little like vignettes, all of these little things that were like, you know, again, just like pulling back from commercials and the things that have like stuck in our heads since we were kids, and like, oh, this would be a funny way to do this. You know, this would be a funny twist on that. And when we started putting it all together, kind of having these short little things, it wasn't until the smaller segments were built that we kind of went back and said, how can we connect this together? You know we have the cable box and everything's coming through the cable box. But like, what is there some sort of through line? You know, what's the outside of the TV look like? So that was kind of really far along in the process that we kind of figured all that out. And that was really tricky because, you know, we get to the end when we have everything put together and it's like, I wish we would have been able to call back to this thing in this, you know, couple seconds, or in this scene, you know, it'd be cool to add stuff like that. So we kind of did it all backwards, which was, you know, kind of telling of our status as makers and filmmakers, you know, just doing everything the wrong way. And this is what we get.
Yeah, I would call it this style like Band-Aid writing. Like we're constantly like going back and like, oh, okay, let's like write this in and fix this. Oh, okay, now and this connect this, and so yeah, it was a very backwards way of writing, which was really fun too. And in the same way, yes, it was hard ways, but it was also kind of fun because you could adjust as we went.
Yeah.
Awesome. So at what point did you guys come up with the idea of heebie-jeebie and how to spell it and all of that? And like, at what point did like the box that's magical, like almost like a Roku box, but like a souped up. I love the prop too, where it's like pulsating. It looks like something out of a Goosebumps episode or something. At what point did that become the idea for how to connect all these different characters and stuff?
Well, that was probably the first thing. I think we had done a Halloween show the year before we started production. It was kind of like all three of us had independent short films that we wanted to show, and we had some, you know, Simpsons Treehouse of Horror playing, and Jake was in character on stage and doing all this stuff. And when the idea came for what are we going to do next year because we have to top this, Jake had the idea of Heebie-Jeebie TVs. Like, that's the name, that's what it should be. And then I think we kind of had like a brainstorm sesh of, you know, that it's going to be this box. So that was like the first thing that we really came up with, was it's going to be a box that just pumps things into your brain. So Jake came up with the name. Adam designed the box out of, you know, he's a tattoo artist. So he had a bunch of like ink boxes and stuff, just like random things that he uses for tattooing to make that prop. And then I have like maybe 3 or 4 sketchbook pages of just different ways to write out heebie-jeebie TV, you know, like how are we going to spell it? How's it going to be phonetically, you know, kind of making it seem like it's a broadcast network, you know, kind of like going after the KTLA kind of vibe of it, you know. So it was a lot of like, you know, brainstorming and working it down to like, how can we make this into a consumable word that kind of like is recognizable, but also like has the things that we want in it, you know. So it was kind of, that was like the first real collaboration with this, was kind of like the 3 of us putting our heads together to come up with this box and the, you know, the dark overlord that is heebie-jeebie.
Awesome. So a couple things that I immediately kind of was brought to mind when I watched the film was, these guys have to be like fans of Weird Al and UHF, right? Because that seemed like the DNA and that's all in there. And it also put me in mind, I think there's a John Ritter movie called Stay Tuned.
Stay tuned. Yep.
Yeah.
I hadn't learned about Stay Tuned until probably a year into making this movie, and I was a little nervous. I was like, oh no,
yeah?
they're gonna come for us or something. Yeah. But yeah, absolutely. Weird Al. I had every single Weird Al greatest hits album when I was a kid, and I just listened. If I could wear down a CD, they would have been worn down to nothing, the amount that I listened to them.
Yeah, I had the greatest hits music video collection on repeat, like the King of Spoof, really. So yes.
Okay, so quick question: favorite Weird Al song or video for each of you?
Oh, Eat It.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
I love Eat It.
I'm always gonna have a soft spot for Smells Like Nirvana, just because that was like, I was introduced to Weird Al first, kind of like through VH1, and that's what got me into like all this other music and stuff. Like I didn't know who Nirvana was until I found Weird Al, so that was kind of like my gateway into expanding my musical horizons. So that one has a very special place in my heart. But I Lost on Jeopardy is probably the one that gets stuck in my head the most.
Okay,
we should say Amish Paradise, because for
that,
Lancaster,
that's kind of my
Yes.
go-to Amish Paradise.
Yeah, also like A Surgeon is great. That's also up there.
Yeah, I think Adam was at the FYE here in Lancaster when Weird Al was doing signings for Amish Paradise. He has a really good story about that. I wish he was
Oh
here for
wow,
that. Yeah.
that's awesome. So as an aspiring kind of indie horror-ish filmmaker myself, that's just now kind of trying to get my own project off the ground, hopefully next year, I'm always interested how people are kind of brought to you know, independent filmmaking, and it seems like you guys were all doing your own short films, and this your collectively, it seems like this is your first feature. So what's kind of on the horizon? Where do you see things going from this? Are you going to build out these characters in other ways, or do you have ideas to kind of launch into other features now?
All of the above, I think. I think we played a little bit with more expansion of the universe in like our special features in the physical release, which is fun. So I think, to answer your question, yes, we are going to do more with the same characters and new characters. What it looks like, I think we're still kind of playing with the idea of like what the format looks like, what the stories are, but absolutely, like it's become such a fun world even for me to play in, just with character wise. So yeah, like I want every opportunity I can to be more villains in this universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we kind of did it purposefully, where we wanted this to be the kind of thing that would have many branches, kind of off the bat, you know, just kind of have as many like fake products and fake brands and characters and stuff as we can, so that we kind of like have that room to grow. And I think we're all definitely interested in growing the heebie-jeebie verse itself and kind of do shoot offs of that. And you know, we just had so much fun doing this and kind of found ourselves as makers through this process. And I think we've kind of honed in on something that the 3 of us all like collectively. So we definitely want to continue with that down the road.
That's awesome. And just for kind of the other indie filmmakers that are curious, like what did you shoot on? Like, was there a specific kind of camera setup you were using? I know everything's kind of going digital and everything now, and everything's kind of on a budget for us indie people and stuff. But was there like, it has a really good look, but also kind of looks like you maybe did some kind of after maybe some grain effects and stuff kind of in post, I assume.
Yeah, so we shot everything. I own a video production business as my like full-time job and have for the past couple years.
Awesome.
And we use Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 4Ks, which is like literally just if you're gonna try making movies, just
Those are
buy
great.
anything Blackmagic puts out because they work great. They're everything you're gonna need, and they're so affordable. Save up $1,000 and get yourself a camera that you can make a movie on. That isn't a Nikon DSLR. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't say like. I think Blackmagic as a company kind of made this production happen. You know, we edited on DaVinci, shot on Blackmagic cameras. I loved every second of it. It was so easy. It made my job really easy. So that is my biggest piece of advice. Invest into Blackmagic design.
Yeah, I've heard so many great things about those pocket cameras.
Yeah, they're awesome. And it's like you just can't beat the quality for how much they are, you know, and they're always like keeping up with like upgrading them, and like firmware and software is constantly being updated, and like it's just such an easy workflow that like I can't imagine myself using anything else. But to answer the other part of that, yes, there was a lot of trial and error with like just the visual aesthetic, because it needed to feel nostalgic. I wanted it to feel like it was from a TV from the 90s or the 80s or the early 2000s, and kind of have the aesthetic match what the thing is that we're referencing. So there's like parts where we play with aspect ratio, you know, things are square, things are wide. And it was a lot of trial and error on like what is the proper balance of that, what is too much, what makes it seem kind of hokey, what makes it feel more authentic. So that was a whole process of like trying to find that visual look in post.
I was gonna say that's the one thing I noticed. This movie, you could have told me it was made in the 90s and I would not have questioned it.
Nice.
Yeah, so I was really curious about a few influences on the movie. I know so far everyone's talked about Pee-wee's Playhouse. I could definitely see Jambi the Genie in there a little bit. Like I could see that influence the Blue.
Mm-hmm.
I was curious, was any of this inspired by like Adult Swim, like Tim and Eric Awesome Show? Because that vibe, I definitely felt a kinsmanship there, almost like a love letter to that. I don't know if that's what you're going for.
No, honestly, our references in this are so heavy-handed, and the answer is always probably going to be a yes. We dumped every little piece of media that we enjoy and just threw it in this blender through this lens. 100% yes.
Awesome.
There's something so slapstick, I think, about like this modern type of like Adult Swim, Tim and Eric type of humor. You know, it's I think all of us kind of grew up with like Abbott and Costello and like the Three Stooges and stuff, and I feel like this like newer YouTube, TikTok, Adult Swim kind of humor is like the new millennium's like version of that kind of like slapstick. It's like visual, auditory slapstick almost, and I think that was something I was really drawn to with that type of humor. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's awesome. You could definitely see it, and I that was the first thing I thought was like, I was like, they're definitely fans of Adult Swim. Like I definitely got that vibe. And I am too, old school Adult Swim. Even now, I love it. As far as the way you structured the film, it's kind of like in ways like an anthology that's mapped together with a central story. Does that kind of storytelling interest you as far as like the idea of doing those type of stories like a Creep Show or like VHS or something that's like that wraparound? Is that something you definitely have interest in doing in the future, or was really inspirational to you?
I think in terms of this film specifically, it kind of just happened that way. It really wasn't intentional from the jump. Like, oh, let's make a kind of anthology where it's just like boom, 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 hitting you over the head. It just kind of happened because we were just making them, and the story kind of came later. I think in terms of like making more, I would say both. Like I love the kind of fast pace, like hit you over the head skit style that we kind of just this kind of happened with this, but also I would also love to tell like more longer form stories too, like from I would say all ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, and one last thing before I pass, I know Jay's got some stuff too.
Yeah,
as far as, have you ever seen Amazon Women on the Moon? Is that at all?
Yes, that's great.
An influence? It's kind of like
it's like Kentucky Fried Movie. I think it's by the same
guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely check that out. It's kind of like UHF, Kentucky Fried Movie, like that odd sort of. Yeah.
Let me see the poster.
Look at that cover. Oh yeah. Oh, look at that.
I feel
Oh,
like the same
great.
guys that did the airplane movies had
Oh,
something
yeah.
to
Okay.
do with
Gotcha,
that.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, that's on the list now, boys. Let's
Oh, that's
go.
a classic. They used to play on Encore Movie Channel when I was a kid all the time. I loved it.
That was sick.
Amazing. Oh yeah.
So we'll wrap things up. Everyone's kind of touched on anything. I would say that's the benefit and the downside to going last. But all the influences, like as I was watching it, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I'm 39, pushing 40 next year, so it hits all those boxes for me. Like it checks all those boxes. It reminded me of WNUF, the Halloween special, The Forbidden Zone, which I just watched recently, like maybe a week before I watched this, and Boulay Brothers Halloween special. Like those three came to mind as I was watching. Of course, Pee Wee's Playhouse. Have you guys watched The Forbidden Zone? Is that something that influenced you at all?
I haven't. No,
Yeah,
I have not
it's
seen
great.
that.
It's fantastic. Like it's Oingo Boingo and Danny Elfman.
Yeah.
It's like this
Yeah, he's
weird
best.
musical. There's no way to describe it, but I highly recommend. I think I watched it on Tubi, maybe, but I could feel those other movies, and those are also like regular rotation Halloween films for me too. And Heebie-Jeebie TV is going to be right up there. Like this is one that my wife would watch. Is she going to laugh? Probably not. Different styles of humor, but it's not one she's gonna like, wincing like I can't watch this. Like I think she would at least appreciate it. And if she would appreciate it for nothing more than the Kellen mentioned earlier, the best quote in the entire movie, which is, "I know I have a fucking rockin' monster coochie." Like that alone is worth the price of admission. Like just that line. Who came up with that line?
It was me.
Bravo.
Yeah. I'm glad that's the
Bravo.
one that gets your go. I think it's hilarious too. So I appreciate that.
If
I
you
think
got
so,
it, you
right?
got to flaunt it, right?
Right. I think that's probably my favorite segment of the whole thing. Also, is it weird that I want some Frank's? Like after watching them, like I would eat that. Like
No, they're delicious.
Now, you talk about, the multiverse and universe expansion. I think we're going to probably go towards, move away from filmmaking and strictly into spoof products, just like making these dumb ideas as real as possible. So I'm sure you'll be able to get Frank's in the future.
Nice. I'll keep an eye out for it for sure. All right. So that's going to be a wrap for this episode. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and to wherever you listen to this podcast. Follow us on Instagram. Join our group on Facebook. If you have Amazon Music, you can find a playlist of music and artists from previous episodes there. So check that out as well. Guys, thank you again for taking some time with us. Like I said, we all really thoroughly enjoyed the movie. It was a lot of fun. And we've done a lot of heavy episodes recently, I think, like between Beyond the Black Rainbow.
Yeah.
What was the other one that was men? Like ones that we have to sit there and think, and we have to Google like, what the hell does this mean? Like, so to have something like this in rotation is very refreshing, to say the least.
And
So,
and thanks for making another gateway horror for a whole nother, generation of kids, because this is a perfect gateway horror.
That's right.
Thank you. That means a lot. Yeah, absolutely. Glad you all enjoyed it.
And like we said earlier, it's available on Screenbox, which if you don't have it, you can get a free 7-day trial. Go check out Heebie-Jeebie and check out Onyx the Fortuitous. It's probably the best two films original films that are on there right now. Besides the documentary, some of those documentaries are absolutely knockout.
I can't
So,
recommend
RoboDoc is amazing.
We
love
got a
the Onyx
screener. We got a screener for Onyx, so we did an episode on that a couple weeks ago. Like it's probably one of my favorite. It's probably my favorite film of the year. So like it's right up there with Shaun of the Dead and Tucker and Dale. Like he did such a fantastic job. And
yeah, he knocked it out of the park, man.
Yeah, and he, you had him in your film for a little segment too, where he played his Arby's guy character. So nice little tight knit family. So thank you guys again. It was a lot of fun. Go watch the movie. And keep an eye out for Frank's coming out in the future in your hot dog aisle at your local grocery store. So sign off. I'm Jay with Eric, Jake, John, Kellen, and TJ. And until next time,
keep it spooky.
your job.
Put the gun down before you kill someone.
Teenage Girl's Diary.
Hello and welcome to another Dollar Store Drive-In. I'm your host, Laura.
I'm Joel.
And we're the Newly Deads.
We are.
Yay! And this show, if this is your first time tuning in, is a half-hour chat show where my significant partner over here and I watch a movie and then talk about said movie with you fine fellows.
And our dogs.
Peeps and all of the things. And our dogs.
And our dogs.
Yes.
By the way, just real quick, I don't know if we were going to discuss this, but I'm going to throw it out there. This is the first time we're using our new mics that we're testing out. So if you happen to hear any scrapes or scuffs or scribbles and scrub, I don't know, whatever words I'm trying to say, it's because we're kind of learning how they work a little bit. So
and if you see me like sitting here like a statue, it's because I don't want to move to like make it go.
But bear with us. We're trying to improve things, and this is a step towards getting even further down that road. So, all right,
you're our guinea pigs.
He loves guinea pigs and axolotls.
If this is your first time watching, you can come talk to us. Or that's not first time watching. Let me back up. If this is Wednesday night at some sort of time,
6:30 or 7 Central Standard Time
on YouTube, you can go and watch us and talk to us at the same time,
live and in person.
Yep, Mr. Newly Dead over here is very active, and I usually sit right next to him, and then he's like, "Oh, they said this," and then I would be like, "Oh, I'll say that back to them." So
you can talk to her too, is what she's saying.
Yep,
we're both there. But if for some reason you're unable to catch it live, the show is replayed. Well, not replayed. The show is available to stream for. I want to say there's some sort of a time limit on it, but you can watch it for quite a while. So you can go back, look up the date of the show. Our show always airs on Wednesday. Find the Wednesday date, and then you can just skip straight ahead to our show or watch the entire night of programming. There's good stuff on there. Al Omega follows us directly after. We always watch that. And then there's good stuff before and after that too. So check it out.
Check it out. And as my husband already said, this is Shaggy. We just found out that he's 11 different kinds of dog. We did a DNA test on him, but he's mostly Great Pyrenees. He's 30% Great Pyrenees.
Could have knocked me over with a feather when I found that out, because he does not look like a Great Pyrenees all that much, but hey.
Yeah. But he's also got Shih Tzu and Chihuahua and Pitbull and Border Collie, or not Border Collie, just Collie.
That terrier that looks like a pit bull. I forgot the name of it.
Staffordshire
Terrier, yeah.
Those are also pit bulls.
Then they look like it. But anyway, so yeah, we just got DNA done for Christmas for him, and we got it on my oldest's birthday. So but what's Dollar Store Drive-In all about?
Oh yeah. So I already said that.
You did?
Yeah. I said if this is your first time watching, this is a show where it's a half-hour chat show where me and my husband watched a movie, and then we're going to talk about it with you fine fellows and people and things. Do you remember that?
I do remember that part.
Mm-hmm.
We do make it something that we've never seen before.
Oh, that was the part.
Something under $5. And the method that we get it, we typically go out and get them from the Dollar Store, Dollar Tree, some sort of a brick and mortar location for a physical copy that we then catalog in the basement. That don't know what we're going to do with those yet, but they're there.
But
this week, Randy from IT and Distribution has been providing us with films for the entire run of our show, almost at this point, which is coming up on a year. And so this week we are watching.
I always say it wrong. It's the Snow Monster versus Ice Shark.
Correct. Which on the thing that we got, it just said Snow Monster, but then on the actual when we started to look into it,
when we started watching the movie, it actually said, like in the beginning of it, it said
Snow Monster
versus Ice Shark.
And
which I don't, but I don't really quite get that, because it wasn't really Snow Monster versus Ice Shark most of the movie.
Most of the time it was versus some other people. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. So.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, do I have to make up a synopsis again?
I mean, it shouldn't be too hard to make up since you've actually seen the film now.
Yeah.
Last time you hadn't seen it yet. This time you actually know kind of what the plot is.
Was that the Himalayan mountains?
That I don't remember. You can just say mountain.
What mountains are in China?
It wasn't really any of those things because remember they went through the cave. And
it
they
wasn't.
ended up in, like,
okay.
Magic Land.
It's true. I know the Himalayan mountains are like, I want to say they're like in China or in like India, like that kind of, I don't know. Geography was not my favorite subject.
Neither.
I barely know how to get home from work.
That's not true. She gets all over town. I get lost.
I'm able to go places, but
I've been here over a decade, but she knows her way around real good.
I try.
She's smart.
Okay. You ready?
I am.
Deep in the wintry lands in between our world and the next, purgatory possibly, who knows, lives a creature so large that you can barely see the top of his head. This group of ragtag soldiers and scientists fight to find a lost group of scientists. What is that? Who got lost in the wilderness. Join us as they fight for survival and sharks who swim on the land. Snow monster versus ice shark. Bow, bow, bow. The end.
You can't watch me because then you get distracted.
Because he's funny.
You gotta. She likes seeing what I try to do.
It's my favorite part of the show.
But she shouldn't be watching it because then
you were doing some big hand movements.
I was trying
to. You're not bumping your microphone.
I'm being very careful. I think I'm fine because it's not moving much.
Watch, it's the whole time you're just like.
It's like. We're like, gosh darn it, we ruined the entire episode. We're sorry if this is our lost episode.
Or last episode.
Or last. No. Not after all we've done. No way.
They just heard me yawn, probably. I'm
I
yawning.
think Randy from ITN would be happy about that if we stopped showing his movies.
Yeah, it'd be sad.
So
okay. So should we actually show them what the trailer is so that way they understand a little bit more of the context on the synopsis that I just did?
I think that'd be a good idea. And if you people there, yeah, if any of you people out there saw our episode on Land Shark, this is very, very similar, and I'm not entirely sure was not made and or written and or at least starring one other person from that film. So if you've seen that,
similar but not the same,
it's going to be kind of a similar joint. So, okay, but the assemblage of clips known as a trailer,
it's here.
It's already here.
Beep, beep.
Where'd it come from?
For here.
Okay.
I'm surprised you didn't see it coming. You were looking that way.
Oh, right.
All right.
Oh, sadness.
So we'll be right back. What did you think about the trailer? I don't think Joel probably did anything to it because he usually doesn't mess with the ITN trailers.
No, I try to leave those alone. And
So that
you
was,
know,
yeah, uncut,
filtered, untouched.
untouched virgin trailer.
Ooh.
Mm.
Beep, beep.
Beep beep. So what'd you learn about it?
I learned that there was a snow monster and some snow sharks
That I kept
ice
calling it
sharks.
a snow beast.
I looked it up as Snow Beast, which there was another movie from 2000 and something called Snow Beast. Not the same movie, incidentally. So anyway, on my sheet, I always draw things, which I always tell you guys about that, and eventually maybe you'll be able to see them as well. But I did the guy with the holes in their head. There's a bunch of those. I drew the Snow Beast that says Laura thinks I'm cute.
Yep.
Because the first thing that whenever I see a monster in a movie
that he thinks I'll think is cute,
I always assume she's going to think it's cute for the most part, unless it's like not cute. But and I drew this little weird little Scully guy that's got kind of the eyes I was doing on my Valentine thing, and then I drew a poop with some flies next to it.
You did draw a poop.
Yeah, but we'll get to that because it's not what you think.
You drew a big poop.
I drew a poop with flies, but it's not what you think. Trust me on this. All right, so Snow Monster, also called Deju Guai, is from 2019, currently sitting at 4.5 out of 10 on the Internet Movie Database. I'm sorry, Snow Monster versus Ice Shark. This is directed by Hwang Hee, who also is known for Underground Monster, not to be confused with Snow Monster, Direnji and the Flying Head.
That sounds interesting.
And that's it. That's all that I had.
I want to see the flying head.
Direnji and the Flying Head? Yeah, could be interesting. I don't know. I don't know why the head is flying. I don't know if it's detached from the body. I don't know if it's...
Or if they threw a head and now it's flying.
Right. Like, why is the head flying? Did Direnji, like, is he like a baseball player and it's like just a head that they throw and they hit around with the bat? I don't know. The poster that we'll put up will give a little more context to you folks. But yeah, we won't know until then because I didn't look it up. I just saw that there was only 2 credits.
Yeah.
This was written by 2 people. The first one is Shengfen Zhang, who wrote Snake 2, Snake 3, and Restart the Earth, which we've mentioned on a prior show for Landshark, as well as Snake 2. They made lots of Snake movies.
I see.
We'll get to that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then this was also co-written by Pianjia Lang, and this is their only credit.
Okay.
But this is from 2019, so they're maybe working on their next script or shopping some stuff around. Who knows? This stars one Tang Jin, who was... you may recognize these titles because of the Landshark episode, because Tang Jin was also in Landshark. He was in Touching Gold Captain. He was in Landshark, as I've mentioned several times. And he was in Restart the Earth, which was also just mentioned. The other person's name that I wrote down was Jingtang Zhang, who the only reason I chose them out of the cast, because most of the cast had very limited credits, like 1 credit maybe, and they were mostly like romance movies. And so this person's credits were a little bit more interesting. The first movie I'll mention is The Magic of Children, subtitled Magic Attack. Sounds kind of like a Harry Potter thing,
Mm-hmm.
you know, maybe. Like children are magic, but yet they attack you. I don't know. I'm very curious about this. And the other one is...
Kedavra.
Exactly. Wait, now I'm going to die.
Yeah.
The other one is My Roommate is a Detective.
Fun.
It's like Detective Pikachu if your roommate was Pikachu.
Oh, yeah.
I just thought of it because it's over there on the shelf.
Pikachu.
All right. So at this point in the episode, my wife turns to me and says,
"What'd you think?"
And I say, "I have thoughts about Snow Monster versus
Oh,
Ice
but he's
Shark."
not running away. That's good.
Did I run away?
Yeah, sometimes you're like, "That's all, folks."
Oh, yeah. And I just kind of pretend like the show's over already. The first thing I want to say is that kudos for having subtitles.
Yes. I like that they had subtitles.
That was a very welcome change from Landshark.
I would much rather watch a movie with subtitles than a dubbed over version.
Granted, the subtitles sometimes were a little fast, and sometimes you couldn't catch everything they said immediately.
Yeah, it's what the rewind button's for.
Exactly. But I would prefer that to the horrible subtitles we had,
All day.
or the horrible dubbing we had on Landshark.
Or that other one, that movie where they were stuck in the room and like the guy was dead the whole time.
Saw?
No, it was like a Korean movie.
A Korean movie?
And it was like really badly overdubbed, like with a little girl that was like, you could tell it was like an adult person's voice, like pretending like they're a little girl.
It was Landshark.
No, it was like a ghosty movie.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to figure that out.
You
later.
guys know what I'm talking about.
I know. I'm looking at you
first
guys.
Rodeo.
Wait, we're talking about rodeo? No. I do have to say that the majority of the special effects are better than your average asylum film. There
are some funny ones though.
There were some that were just like for the one that she is specifically referencing. There's a scene where they break out of this cave into a snowy wonderland because they are being saved from an explosion that happens, and they turn around and what do they see?
A tiny fire coming out of the mountain.
Something with the perspective was really off, so the hole looked like it was about like this big.
You could just tell it was a shot of a model.
Either a model or some really, like I said, really bad.
They fell
like,
really
CGI,
far if it was that far away.
It does not look right.
No, it looks really, 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 really fake. And when they were falling,
oh, that wasn't
into
good
the
either.
hole.
Yep. It's kind of like when you're a kid and you're trying to draw perspective for the first time, and the chair is bigger than the child.
Or you're an adult like me and I can't draw perspective.
She can draw. Don't let her fool you.
Perspective is hard.
Perspective. I can't do perspective well either. So that's just a thing that some people are good at, and some people we have to learn more. It was definitely felt a lot like the spiritual successor, or I don't know which one came first, to Landshark. I know I keep mentioning that movie, but I feel like they were like, if you were to do a double feature of these two films, it would feel like you saw the same film or a very similar version of the same film. Even the sets and the storyline were almost like very similar. Yeah. It was like a formulaic kind of thing. They had all the tropes that were back. They had the hero that had facial hair. They had the love interest that was, this kind of smart and capable, but also pretty and kind of had moments of incapability.
The military guys.
Had the military guys with one guy with the like cornrows or whatever.
Did you say the bad guy? Like the mean businessman?
The mean businessman. Then you had the nice fatherly kind of guy that was kind of the counterpoint. And then you had the overweight friend who saves the day, but also is potentially going to die. The only thing I think we were missing was there wasn't any children, was there?
No. I mean, kind of, but not really. So like there was like the queen and then the daughter.
Right.
Yeah. So like she was the kid, but like it wasn't like a kid.
I'm trying to remember the name of the kid was in Landshark, but yeah, it wasn't like a little kid. It was like,
oh, it was something like
Yu or Gigi.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Poo poo or something. It was two words that sounded the same.
Ha ha or something.
It was that actually is pretty close. I think it was something like that. This very much felt to me like it was if somebody was writing this and they were like, okay, I'm going to take aspects of The Descent, Journey to the Center of the Earth, and maybe like Godzilla versus Kong and mix it up, because you had like creatures that were underground that were from a prehistoric era. You had like them traveling into, deeper into the earth. And then you had like, I'm going to forget what they call it, and where Godzilla is from, like where King Kong and Godzilla come from. It's not Middle Earth. It's like something like that. It's like,
like the center of the earth.
Yeah. That's like but you have to like travel through this like portal thing to get there.
It's like a wormhole.
But it's like inside the planet. It's like, but you can't get there unless I'm drawing a blank, and I've seen all these movies and
8 million times.
But
Alicia would be very disappointed.
Exactly.
Right now.
My kid would be like beating me up the side of the head right now.
Almost to the point of disowning.
But when they get to this snow covered under earth, let's call it, there's like it's got its own planets that you see that are different. It's got a different. It just feels like a different place,
Weird.
which again, very much like the Godzilla and King Kong. What's the word I'm looking for? Lore.
How did they drive there?
I don't know.
You know,
Very carefully.
that's the thing. It's like the people drove there, like the
Magical
first group.
Winnebago.
You remember the
Mhm.
first group? How did they drive there?
Magical Winnebago.
It even said that they were just like exploring the winter lands or something like that, like the snow-covered winter lands. It was weird.
Yeah, I don't.
And then it just went kind of sideways when he's like, okay, well, we need to do this weird ritual where we like push a rock and then like, you know, it'll open up this portal to this other. How did those people drive there? Like, I just want to be like, why do we got to go through Indiana Jones land when like they just like literally just drove there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That part was a big mystery.
And
There
how did
was
they
some-
get there?
There were some plot holes.
Did they drive there?
Who?
The
The
scientist?
Snowbeast? The snow monster? Oh.
The snow
The snow monster
monster's just
is
like driving a Jeep. He's like beep beep.
That's
He's
how he
got
broke
the
his
keys to
horn.
the Jeep.
He
Bro.
did something. Speaking of the snow monster, he had very clean teeth for a monster. And
He was very sweet.
he's kind of a dick. He's got a good sense of
No,
humor, but he
he's
was kind of a dick.
Oh yeah, he was kind of a dick.
But it was funny because
Well, one of his horns got shot off.
That's true.
I'd be a dick too if my horn got shot off.
I also feel like that they were doing the guy in a monster suit for some of the shots, and they were then like green screening him in. The land sharks, the ice sharks were all CGI, but the snow monster, I'm pretty sure, was a guy in a suit with CGI touch ups. With the way he moved, he didn't move like CGI. He moved like a guy in a suit.
Yeah, I agree. He was big.
He was very large.
He was like bigger than a mountain.
I said that the one military guy with the braids, I called him Tom Brady, Braidy, because he
Very funny.
cornrow kind of things.
Got jokes.
Oh, I also said that I bet he poops big. That's why that I drew a poop.
Oh,
Because-
the Yeti?
yeah.
The snow monster?
The snow monster was so big that when he was walking away, he's got this tail. And I was like, man, he must poop really big.
He looked like a white demon.
Kind of, yeah. Like he's got 3 horns on top and then 2 kind of curly horns on the side. And then he's got like
Black
a lot of
eyes.
teeth. Yeah. And like a little nose. But then he's got a tail and like big human-like hands with dirty fingernails and stuff.
He was cute.
For a snow monster, he was pretty cute. I wasn't quite sure what happened with the ending because I don't want to spoil too much, but some really horrible stuff happens, and then it just kind of ends on a downbeat. But then they have like a pseudo, like once the credits start rolling, the film continues, but in like a little box to the side of the credits, so kind of like a mid-credit scene, but the movie credits are going and it's still the movie. And they do something in the movie that then immediately says, okay, these same characters technically are now going to be involved in this sequel, which does not actually involve the snow monster. It involves an entirely different creature that they see on a screen. Again, I don't want to spoil anything. I could not figure out how it's connected or what the other movie is exactly. I think it's one of the ones that one of the other the writers wrote, one of the other films that they wrote. I'll try and do some more research before I release the episode. So when I'm editing, so you guys will know kind of what we find out. Yeah, I thought I had something else to say there about that, but it was weird.
Mm-hmm.
But what was one thing that happened during this film that is going to automatically kind of make it?
I fell asleep. I was tired.
We had been shoveling really heavy, wet snow.
Yeah. And I woke up early, which is weird because, I technically could have had the day off, but I worked anyways. And instead of just going back to sleep and taking some extra time, I decided to stay up, and I started working immediately as soon as I woke up instead of giving myself a little bit of a break. And then, so I was just really tired. The whole day I was tired.
There was a reason for it because she was actually, I think, enjoying
liked
the film,
the movie,
and she liked the snow monster, and there was a lot of snow monster action at the end.
Mm-hmm. Makes
So
me
I was a
sad.
little surprised that she fell asleep, but not considering what we had to go through that whole day.
Once I get cold,
so
I get my hands like underneath my legs and then I fall asleep.
it's true. We've been together over 5 years and I've seen it multiple times.
All the time.
So at this point,
I'm tired now.
I guess it's about the time to wrap up talking about it, eh?
Yeah. All right. So on a scale of 0 to 5 holes in the head.
Holes in the head.
Yeah, there was like this whole scene where they had a bunch of like they found a bunch of people that were like skeletons and they had holes in their head.
And then
We're not going to tell them why though, right? Because you want them to see it.
The reason why was kind of, I mean, I said that there were some prehistoric creatures that were involved. I won't tell you what they were.
Yeah.
But I thought they were kind of cute. And
I thought that was a spooky scene at first, and then it just kind of went on a little bit long.
Yeah, it went a little sideways. But
sideways.
For me, I feel like it's maybe like a 3.5 out of 5.
That's pretty good. I was going to give it a 3, but since I fell asleep, I'm going to give it a 2.
No, you don't have to hold to that rule. You know?
Yes, I do. All right. How about a 2.5?
Split the difference. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
I'll give it that way. I'll give it a 3.5 also.
I'll take it.
All right. So if they don't want to watch this movie, what should they watch instead?
Well, I'm going to say instead of don't watch this movie, I'm going to say in addition to watching this film.
Yeah.
Because I think the thing that this really like the most harkens back to in my brain, because I kept watching it, I'm like, this is very familiar, and I couldn't figure out why. And then at the end, when I wrote down my original suggestion, I was like, oh no, you got to go back farther. Because my original suggestion was Skull Island, but you got to go back to the 1933 original King Kong, because you've got a giant creature that's misunderstood, that's actually working for the good of the tribe that is protecting him, and vice versa.
Oh yeah.
There's prehistoric creatures that he has to fight. They kind of have to go through a lot of trouble to get to this hidden island that technically is not like an alternate. But sorry for the interruption. But there's it's kind of a hidden space where nobody's been to. And then the creature has to fight the bad guys, and there's planes. There's planes in this that were trying to stop him, and it just felt very much like King Kong, but with a very modern kind of air to it.
Yeah, I would concur. That's a good, suggestion.
Plus, I'm always going to tell you to go back and watch the classics, because if you want to know where a lot of the stuff comes from that you're seeing today,
classic.
Got to go back to the originals.
You got to see the classics.
And it holds up, kids. Maybe the special effects are a little dated, but it was 1933.
Well, it holds up, but there's some races.
The problem with a lot of the old movies is that yes, there is some issues with
it doesn't hold up.
Those aspects.
It's interesting, and it's a fun movie, but there's
put it in historical
blatant
context.
Racism in it. Yeah,
that's true. You gotta put it into the historical context.
Yeah. So when you say it holds up.
It doesn't make it right, but you can at least understand why it existed.
Aesthetic, not vintage values.
Be glad that we've moved past a lot of that. There's still problems, but that's another story.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. So what are we watching next week?
Oh yeah. So here's where things might get a little. So I apologize in advance if they get a little.
I think you're doing okay.
But I'm trying not to move. So next week we are watching From the Vault of Fun, chosen at random,
Everfall.
Not to be confused with the Foo Fighters song.
A film by John Cusack.
Oh, John Cusack.
Do you know who Joe Perry, Colm Fiore, and Jessica McLeod is?
Colm Fiore's name sounds familiar, as does Joe Perry, but Jessica McLeod, not so much.
I like the shoe thing on the back. Okay.
There's a shoe thing on the back.
Yeah, I'm gonna. This looks like it's gonna be not great. Okay.
Book by its cover.
You're right. I mean, the front cover, I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Okay, a year after an unfortunate accident, Eva has a disappointing tryout as a big figure skating competition, or at a big figure skating competition. Her coach invites her to compete in a mysterious competition in the small town of Everfall to work on her skills. Eva brings along her boyfriend, Daniel, who's Joe Perry,
Good old Daniel.
an extreme sports YouTube star, and his cameraman, Jordan, to document Eva's last chance at resurrecting her skating career. This sounds so weird. Once in Everfall, though, a series of horrifying events unfold, forcing them to face things more terrible than they could imagine.
Ah, there's where the horror slash.
So lots of
thriller
branchy
thing
looking
happens.
kinds of things. Oh yeah, I see her with her ice skates on there.
Kind of like a Wendigo.
And then that's
kinda
what those
looking
kind of things are. It's
something.
like
How those are ice skates and not
maybe
cool little
there's
duck
a Wendigo. I don't know.
kind of. Whenever I see like tree branchy looking horn shapes, I always think of Wendigos or like
Wendigo, yeah.
something along those lines. Or if you've ever seen The Ritual, which if you haven't, holy crap, watch that movie. But I don't
She's
think
got
the
a
whole
knife
thing
in
is
her
great.
hand.
But that movie was
He's got a
way
shot-
better than I expected.
He's got a shotgun and she's got a knife in her hand and she's got a bloody skate.
We're gonna need shotguns for this.
It looks like maybe like a murdery, psychotic looking town.
Well, we'll find out. So join us next week to find out for yourself as well.
And where can they find us?
If you'd like to find us, you can find us at thenewlydads.com. Currently, we are working to revamp the site as we speak, not like at this exact moment.
No, we're fixing it.
But we're working on it.
Fixing to do some fun things.
We've also got some new things that are coming. And so keep your eyes and ears open to the Facebook page. We're also on Instagram, Spoonflower, and a bunch of other places. But yes, things are coming.
Yep. And as always, thank you so much for watching. And until next week,
keep it cheap and creepy.
Bye.
Go look after your mother and sister. Where are you going? We gotta finish this. Goodbye, Tom.
TripAdvisor calls us one of the top 10 ghost tours in the U.S. for good reason. Not only are our guides the best storytellers in the business, several attract a lot of things themselves. Book your tour now at ChattanoogaGhostTours.com. Chattanooga Ghost Tours offers not only award-winning tours, we are the first ghost tour in the world to offer investigations and ghost hunts using amazing tools such as the Talking Oculus and the new Ultimate Hunt with SLS Ghost Mapping.
Show yourself again?
Book now.
Do you like the 80s? Do you like heavy metal? Do you like the dark side? Then you need to add some Trace to your spooky season with the Trace book series by Mandy L. Cantrell. It all began with Trace and the Devil. It's 1988 at Fairview High School, and bad boy Trace has found the girl of his dreams. Will she love him in return despite his dark connections? How far will he go for love? This first Trace book and the second and third are all available on Amazon and in select stores. These books are being compared to The Twilight Zone, Tales from the Crypt, Tales from the Dark Side, and Creep Show. So follow Trace if you dare.
Boy, listen to that wind out there. That was like a night for a ghost story. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Al Omega, the Alpha and Omega of all things science fiction and horror. Yes, Dad may be gone, and Mother may have relegated me to my childhood bedroom, the attic, but the show must go on, and we've got some bad movies for you. Tonight, well, last couple of weeks, you've had some not-so-good movies. Tonight, we have a classic. Tonight, we have Vault of Horror from 1973. Now, if this feels like Tales from the Crypt, it's because, well, pretty much everyone that worked on Tales of the Crypt worked on this one. So there are going to be a lot of repetitive names in it. This movie was directed by Roy Ward Barker, who left us in 2010. Now, he started off at Gainsbury Studios as the T-Boy, because if you're British, you have to have a T-Boy, of course. He is a veteran, but he's done a lot of great work. 5 Million Years to Earth, one of my favorites. The Avengers, Moon to Zero. We get to have that one. Now, this was written by Al Fieldstein. I hope I got that pronounced correctly this time. Well, that's us in 2014. And again, Army Air Corps loved comics. And he liked Vault of Horror, the Weird Science comics. And he wound up working at EC at a very volatile time. EC made, Tales of Horror and so forth. And people started saying that if you read comics like that, it would make young people into murderers. And so, because of that, EC sort of transformed into all their comic books into Mad Magazine. And he became the editor and was instrumental in making Alfred E. Newman. What, me worry? And known for his little gap in his teeth there. We got somebody else with a gap in his teeth. We'll talk about him later. But his first comic job was actually working on Sheena, Queen of the Jungle, and Tales from the Crypt. Of course, I always liked Jan of the Jungle, but neat. Another writer we had was William N. Gaines in this, who left us in 92. Now, he was a publisher of EC Comics and became the publisher at a very young age because his father died in a car accident very tragically. He's also a veteran. And of course, as I said, EC became Mad Magazine. And all this happened because people didn't like the scary comics. And they became blacklisted by the Senate. And then you had the Comic Code Authority. And so to bypass this, back then, not so much now, but back then, they made Mad Magazine and it was strictly in black and white. So it was okay for some reason. And so I guess they weren't worried about people becoming stupid by reading Mad Magazine. You sort of, you could name that any number of things. I liked, they had some of the other ones, the Drip or something. I liked those. We also have Milton Subotsky in it, who helped make Maximum Overdrive, Lawnmower Man, and The Skull. Family members, Paul? Our first tale in tonight's movie is Midnight Mess. This has Daniel Massey in it, who left us in 98, and he's the godson of Noel Coward. And he played Noel Coward twice in movies, and in 1968 he was in a movie called Star, where he played Noel Coward and got an Oscar for it. So I guess he does a very good job of his godfather. And he's been in things like Warlords of the Deep, which we may get to have, Shadows of Fear, and Vikings. Now, I'll give you a little bit of a spoiler. His character has to deal with his sister. So they cast his sister in it. Anna Massey, who left us in 2011, of course, his younger sister. And she did great then. She was actually awarded Commander of the Order of the British Empire. Not an easy thing to have happen. But she was never, shall we say, comfortable in her level of recognition, shall we say. And so she wears her hair in this odd bob because she wanted to be more like Audrey Hepburn. A fine actress to want to be like. I thought she did very well on her own. She was in Hitchcock's Frenzy. Said Hitchcock would always start the sets with a dirty joke that only a schoolboy would find funny, because he liked them. She was also in Peeping Tom and the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, a series I like because Indiana Jones is missing an eye in that one. And our last character I want to talk about is Gerald Wells, who left us in 99. Now, in World War I, a lot of Brits got evacuated to Australia. And he, as a very small child, was evacuated there. And he grew up a little hard. And so you'll recognize him when you see him. He's got this shaved, domed head, broken nose. He looks like an old boxer. He looks like someone you don't want to meet in a back alley. And so he wound up playing bad guys a lot, or comically not bad guys. He's often on the Benny Hill Show. And both in Time Bandits, Flower of Evil, and the New Avengers. So, just so we get it clear, when I talk about the Avengers, new or otherwise, I don't mean Captain America. The guy at this version of the Avengers did not have a shield, he had a hat. Those of you who watched it know what I'm talking about. So let's get into Midnight Mess. Feeling peckish, are we? And once again, I'm here at Monster Blues at Level 52 Studios with
Hannah Myers. I am a co-founder and design coordinator for Level 52 Studios.
And what kind of code did you found?
Well, there's 5 of us that started the thing, so I've got 1/5 of the credit for this. So
so you take 1/5 of the blame as well.
1/5, exactly. Yeah, that's what happens when you own it.
And what do you make here?
So we do 3D printing, prototyping for toys and collectibles. And then we actually make our own stuff. So we actually have a license with the Frank Frazetta family. And so we do these really beautiful, large-scale, high-end, limited edition, statuette versions of Frazetta's artwork.
Yes, and we're going to show some of them in just a little bit, and they are fabulous pieces. We have the young lady behind me that we can't see right now with the furry bits. And what is she running these days?
So she actually sold out. We did 100 of her, so she was a run of only 100, super hyper exclusive. She sold for $649.99.
Wow.
There is a wait list on our website because we were potentially looking at doing distribution, but we might release that reserve. So if you're interested, there's still a chance to potentially get her. Waitlist sign up is on our website. So,
and you have a lot of other, the gentleman whose artwork you're doing was known for doing women without a lot of clothing on.
That's very true.
Yes. And they are lumpy women.
Yeah.
They're not slender like you. No. They're lumpier.
A little lumpier, but they're beautiful. And, that was the thing that, for me, doing the Frazetta license, one of the things that I love about it is that there's the Frazetta women. They have a very specific look. Which I've always appreciated. I've been a fan of his since I was yay big. So, it was always one of those things that I've loved in his work is his representation of women because they look very classical as opposed to very modern, which I love. So,
to understand, especially the young lady with the furry bits, is really based off of his wife at the time.
Yep, it is. Actually, a lot of his work is based on Ellie, which is a very, very sweet and very funny, kind of cheeky thing, which I love. He's such a personality, and especially working with his family, like learning more about like his life and all the inspiration. It's hilarious. He was a character for sure. Very unique man.
Yeah, Mom keeps looking at these things and saying they're so skinny. Mom likes to think of herself as classically beautiful.
Yeah.
She's beautiful for another age. Actually, she's beautiful enough for several ages because there's enough of her to go around. So. Have you seen the big portrait in the other room with all the piercings and the big hoops?
Oh, no, I haven't seen that.
That looks like Mom a lot. I'm going to have to get that one for the living room. So we'll be talking about that one later. So, well, how has the convention been treating you?
Hey, it's fantastic. We got really lucky. We got to upgrade our booth this year, so it's much larger than it was last year.
It's a lot brighter.
Yeah, a lot brighter, a lot more light this time. We didn't have to bring our own lamps this time, which is great. But yeah, it's been fantastic. It seems that we get a really good reception this year and just made a lot of friends, met a lot of people that are already following us online, which is crazy. It's weird to meet people in person and be like, yeah, how do you know who we are? So we still feel so tiny. So it's been great. So,
full size to me, so.
I am pretty tall. I am 5'8", so I mean, I guess I am technically full size.
Yes, technically full size. Technically. That's what a friend of mine says about his wife. She's technically full sized. Because she's over 4'11", so I don't know if he has papers on her. So what do you have new this year?
Yeah, so new stuff. We literally just finished the Grim Reaper prototype here.
Which we'll show later.
Yeah, and same thing with Swordsman of Pars. Brand spanking new. Literally, I was laying paint on them like just the day before we just packed everything up and put it in the van. So they're brand spanking new. So those will be coming out fairly soon. Again, it's one of those reasons for people to sign up for our newsletter because they get to get all those updates when they happen.
Well, they say it's not a convention unless the paint is still drying on your costume when you get there.
Precisely, which is exactly what happened here. So, so we got those are brand new. Catgirl's currently sold out, although she's actually should be shipping end of May, early June, just as long as they get the paint exactly right. And so she's going to be going out here pretty shortly to her new homes. Out there in the world, which is great.
Out there in the world.
I look forward to all the pictures of living rooms and display cases. I'm excited to see that. So.
Little altars to she could be, an altar for a goddess. Absolutely.
I honestly, that's what I love about that painting is that she has all the power in that position. She's got 2 cats.
Yeah, she's got 2 giant cats that are going to eat you.
Oh, exactly, which I love. And those completely brazen, not afraid, no armor, doesn't need it. So kick your butt.
And I didn't realize there's a full moon on this one too, so... Completely anatomically correct. Yes. I didn't know that. I'll have to...
Have you seen it from the other side?
Yes, I've stepped through the looking glass.
To the inside of the booth.
Yes, to the inside of the booth. Yes. So do you, are you local? First of all, let's try that.
No, so we're actually based out of Seattle. So it's a 2-day long drive for us to get down.
You drive down here with this stuff.
Yeah, we have a big van. It's a big old beater van.
The party van.
Yeah.
Gonna get the school bus next?
It's big. Actually, that sounds lovely. I would love to have us to travel it. Could lay on all the seats in the bag and sleep after.
Yeah, take all the chairs out. Grow some long hair, get a girlfriend with no underwear, and find an instrument somewhere. Get the band back together. That would be awesome. If only I played an instrument and had a girlfriend or hair.
Oh, yeah, hair part.
So, do you do a lot of conventions?
No, actually, Monsterpalooza is the only one we've done so far as a company. We're only in our 3rd year in operation. We did it last year and had such a blast. We had to come back this year, and we just lucked out with getting a bigger booth out on the main floor. So, yeah, we plan on coming back every year here.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that can't get a booth for here for nothing. I can't get a booth here for love nor money. I've been trying for like 5 years to get a booth here. So, well, your website is level52studios.com.
Yep.
So check out their website. Lots of good things. Sign up for the newsletter, if nothing else, for the pictures of the naked girls. So that votes for me. Well, thank you so much for your time. Lovely chatting with you again.
Yeah.
And back to the show.
Sub-basement?
I pushed ground. So did I.
Well, why didn't it open?
Looks like some sort of a club. Never knew there was one in the building.
This elevator has no push buttons. And there's no way out.
Someone's bound to come down here soon. Why not make the best of it?
Good idea.
Why not?
Let's do that.
Might as well, I suppose.
Thank you. Strange situation. Almost like a dream. Dreams are much more frightening than this. At least mine are.
Really? In what way?
Strange, mysterious, unworldly, almost unbelievable.
Yeah?
But so real. One feels sometimes that it's actually happening.
Why don't you tell us about it?
All right, I will. Well, you found her. Where? Where?
That's where she lives. I didn't like the town at all. Something strange about it.
And nobody knew I hired you? Nobody saw you come here?
I'm good at my job. Everything confidential.
Thanks.
Anytime.
Thank you.
You're a stranger in town, aren't you?
Yes.
It's getting dark. You better get inside somewhere.
I'd like a menu, please.
I'm sorry, sir, but we're closing.
But it's dinner time. You can't close before 7 o'clock at night.
It's getting dark. We always close before dark. They come out in the dark.
Who?
Who's there?
It's your brother, Harold.
Come in. Quickly. So you found me at last?
Took me a long time.
What do you want?
I've come to see you. After all, you are my sister. Why have you buried yourself in a place like this? Why is everyone so afraid of the dark here?
Because of them.
Them?
There have been 17 cases so far. Bodies found with every drop of blood drained out of them. Now, tell me why you wanted to find me so badly.
Father died 4 weeks ago. I've been looking for you ever since. You're his heir, you know. You always were his favorite. He left you everything. For as long as you live.
Good evening. The table d'hote is rather nice, sir. Juice, soup, roast, sweet, coffee.
Sounds fine. Tomato juice. Oh, yes. It tastes rather strange.
It is our usual, sir.
Oh.
And now, how would you like a roast clots? Well done, medium, rare?
Roast what?
Clots. Blood clots.
Better than the frozen stuff. Quite a nice bouquet.
Your body, good year.
I'll have a glass too, please.
A recurrent dream. More. Oh, much more. It's hard to explain. It's with me all the time.
Do you have a sister?
No. No. It's just a dream. We all have something like it. And you? What's your dream?
Gosh, they had terrible fangs in that. Well, we're on to our next piece. Neat job. What happens when a neat freak marries someone that's willing to be neat for them? This section has Terry Thomas in it, who is known as the quintessential Brit. Left us in 1990s, has a little gap in his teeth. And he really helped cement the idea that, upper-class Brits have a gap in their teeth, so much so that there is a problem where people have a gap in the bones in their wrist. And this is known as the Terry Thomas gap. So if you go to England and complain about your Terry Thomas gap, they will look at your wrist, not your teeth. He really got to start. He actually went to an academy for arts, and they threw him out. And he said that made him feel very stupid, because all these guys were all walking around like they were the cat's meow, and they kept telling him that he wasn't good. So in World War II, he joined the Army Signal Corps, and apparently he's great with impersonations, so he started doing little shows for the men and became immensely popular. And so after that is when he really got into doing a lot of acting. And he said, "I will not be cowed. That's right. You gotta watch out for us, guys. We will not back down. When he retired, in the late 60s, he retired to an island with his 26-year-old wife. That sounds like a good way to go. He was in It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, Hound of the Baskervilles, and the Dr. Fives saga. Now, this section also has Glynis Johns in it, who didn't do nearly enough work. I thought she was a great actress, and she didn't get enough interest. She is, however, on the cover of Led Zeppelin 2, so you don't get that much. That's top of the line memories there. But she was also in Mary Poppins, Around the World in 80 Days, and Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School. Probably just put that at the top of her resume. Now, this section also has John Forbes Robinson. Well, that's us in 2008. And he's the only other actor besides Christopher Lee that played Dracula for one of the Hammer movies. He was in The Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires, Light Force, and The New Avengers. So let's get into Neat Job. A place for everything and everything in its place.
Why not his first? My what? Dream, vision, phobia, obsession, fear, whatever you want to call it.
My dream is a very peculiar one. Very peculiar indeed. So real. So real.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, Wilson, as they say, congratulations are in order. I'm going to get married.
At your age?
Well, I spent a lot of time amassing a fortune, acquiring a lovely house, filling it full of beautiful things. Now I need somebody to look after them. And me, of course.
Who's the lucky girl?
Oh, nobody you know, the daughter of a chum of mine, Sir George Melch.
Little Ella, huh?
Well, she's not little now. She's grown up. Very charming, really.
But why on earth should she marry you?
I consider myself somewhat of a catch, really. Very easy to get on with, actually. Eleanor? Eleanor? You've moved the furniture.
Yes, I thought it would look better if I...
But you've moved the furniture. I go for a magazine and it isn't there.
Darling, you must admit it looks nicer.
But you've moved the furniture. I'll never be able to find anything.
If it bothers you that much.
Well, of course it bothers me. Place for everything and everything in its place. That's how businesses are run. That's how society is running. And that is how a home should be run.
Yes, Arthur.
Morning, my dear. Sleep well? What's this?
They're mine.
Yours? What are they doing in my drawer?
I moved your things to your side of the bed.
But my underpants have always been in the second drawer on the left, folded double with the buttons on the top. How can one live in chaos? Come with me, I want to show you something. Come on. No, this way. Now, Eleanor, this is my workshop. I love making things. It relaxes me. But I couldn't make anything unless I kept all my things neatly filed away. Nails, size, length, screws, size, kind, thread, diameter. I know where everything is. I just have to put out my hand and I find it. And that, Eleanor, is the value of neatness.
Yes, Arthur.
Why did you marry him, Eleanor?
Father had no money. I had no ability, no profession. What else was I to do? Besides, he's quite nice, really. Except
for what?
Well, there's nothing I seem to be able to do for him except keep his house tidy.
Oh.
Oh, darling, don't go into the kitchen. Come and sit over here. I'll do the cooking tonight. High time I illustrated to you what a splendid cook I am. And just sit down there, make yourself perfectly comfortable. I did a lot of cooking when I lived alone. Developed into quite a chef, actually. Oh, spaghetti pomodoro. Tomatoes. Al dente, of course. Spaghetti sauce. Huh? Eleanor? Eleanor! No tomatoes, no tomato puree, no spaghetti sauce. Nothing!
I must have forgotten.
But there's no excuse to forget. Come over here. Come on. My dear, inside the doors of these cupboards is a list of all the items in the cupboard. Against each item are 3 marks. Now, every time you use one of the items, you erase one of the marks. This is the eraser, right here. So you can never have an empty space. But 2 marks, tomato puree, no tomato puree. 3 marks, spaghetti sauce, no spaghetti sauce. You haven't even bothered. Eleanor? Eleanor? Eleanor?
Good morning, darling.
Did you do all this?
Last night.
How splendid. How absolutely splendid. All correct. Darling. What a smashing breakfast. Absolutely marvelous. I can do with this. I've got a very hard day ahead of me. Sure. Back at 6 as usual.
He'll be back at 6. I wanted to hang a picture. I came down for the nail.
You've messed up my whole house. Can't you do anything neatly? Can't you? Can't you do anything neatly? Can't you do anything neatly? Can't you? Can't you do anything neatly? Can't you do anything neatly?
There, Arthur. You said I couldn't be neat. But I was. I tidied up everything after I finished. All neat and tidy. Everything in its place, and a place for everything.
Are you neat and tidy?
Not more than anybody else. And yet...
Yet what?
It's all so real.
I know the feeling.
Well, at least she knows where to find it. Hey there. Our next installment is a little piece called This Trick Will Kill You. And remarkably, it's not sawing a woman in half. This section had Kurt Jurgens, who left us in 1982. Most of the time in the credits, though, he's listed as Kurt. He was a very, very successful European actor. He did a lot of war movies. He's 6'4", he's very commanding. Did spy thrillers. And he was in The Spy Who Loved Me as the bad guy. I think he's the only person that died, as the actor that died, that was in the Roger Moore series. Of course, Roger Moore, no longer with us as well. He did The Sleep of Death and The Mephisto Waltz. Now, he died of a heart attack, but a few years earlier, he'd had a little heart attack and had a near-death experience where he said that he died and he went to hell. Now, on a very serious note, if you have a near-death experience where you go to hell, that's going to change how you're going to live your life when you get back. I wasn't able to find out anything if it did, but gosh, you have to wonder. Start tithing a lot more. This has Dawn Adas in it. Left us in 85. She spoke French and Italian, so I'm guessing she ate very well. She was in The Star Maidens, which we may get to have. Vampire Lovers, which we won't get to have. That other show had it. Boy, they can't do that anymore. But that also had Roy Ward Barker in it and John Ford Robinson in it. So a little synergy there. This bit had Jasmine Hilton in it. Now, the lovely young lady, she plays the figure's daughter, I guess. We'll call her that. She was in The Persuaders and The Rivals of Sherlock Holmes. Both series a lot closer than you might think. But she didn't do a lot of work after that. Now, I always like to talk about the person no one talks about, so I'm going to talk about the fakir in this. Ishaq Bux. I'm going to guess that's how he pronounced his name, who died in 2000. Interesting little fellow, did a lot of work, though. He was in Raiders of the Lost Ark. I believe he's in the scene where they figure out the length of the staff. He's in Octopussy, The New Avengers, and he played the Sheik in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So he had a sense of humor about the whole thing. Let's look at This Trick Will Kill You. Get all tied up in his work.
I've had it often with... What? I tell you.
magic basket blessed by the gods of the temple. I open it. Akbar, I give you my blessing. May the gods protect you from all danger. Pray for the soul of the one within. The God be praised for this mystic miracle. And now, for demonstration of supernatural power of human body to withstand pain through the power of mind. It is a trick. Nothing. Mr. Power of yoga.
Excuse me, please. Excuse me. The real one is in his sleeve. No gods, no supernatural powers, no yoga. Just tricks. Huh? As a fellow magician, I can assure you of that. It's hot in here. And that doesn't seem to do any good.
Darling, why don't we just pack up and go home? We wanted to see the land of ancient mystery. Well, we've seen it. There isn't a mystery in sight. There isn't even a new trick for our act.
Oh, let's give it another day or two. How much? How much do you want for the trick? Name your price.
There is no trick. The magic is in the rope.
Okay, then. Sell me the rope.
I cannot. It was my mother's, and her mother's, and her mother's.
I give you 40,000 rupees.
It is not for sale. Not at any price.
Of course it's a trick. It has to be. But I examined the basket, the rope, and I couldn't see how it was rigged.
And she wouldn't sell it.
If I couldn't figure out how it worked, no one else would be able to. It could be a sensation. We've got to get it. The trick you showed me yesterday.
No trick.
Of course, the magic you showed me. I told my wife about it. And she wondered if you couldn't show it to her. No, you know, my wife is ill, and we wondered if you couldn't come to our hotel room. I pay you 200 rupees just to show it to her. Thank you.
Just a moment. Come in.
This is my wife, Ines.
I am sorry you are ill.
Thank you.
Put her in the trunk later. Let's see what the trick is first. She said the secret is in the rope.
But it isn't hollow. There's no wire in it. Nothing. playing, keep playing. Holds me, I can climb it. And now, just as it will be in our act.
Enos! Enos! Where are you?
I have before me a magic basket blessed by the gods of the temple. I open it. Akbar, I give you my blessing. May the gods protect you from all danger.
You look as though you've seen a ghost. There are no such things as ghosts, except in magicians' illusions.
Well, where did the wife go? That's what I want to know, because I have other people that need to go there. Hey there. I hope you enjoyed that section. This next piece is my favorite. It's a close draw to the one after it, but this one's my favorite. A Bargain in Death. Again, check out the reading material of this one. This has Edward Judd in it, who left us in 2009. He was on, most notably, as I remember him, from First Men in the Moon and Island of Terror, which we may get to have here one day, and The New Avengers. He said he started off being a mild cad, a light confidence sort of guy, and trickster, and his characters got progressively more dark as he got a little bit older. Remember, think once, think twice, think bite. This movie also has Robin Nedwell in it, who left us in 99. And odd character. Now, he was in a lot of movies as a doctor. He was in Doctor in the House, Doctor in Charge, Doctor at Sea. And he worked with Geoffrey Davies, who's also in this. Who was also in The Doctor, Doctor in the House, Doctor at Large, and so forth. And went to his doctor and had a heart attack and died in the waiting room. I guess that means that the time is just a little bit too long. Maybe they need to get some more people in there. I already had one doctor, had two now. And once again, always talking about the people that no one talk about, the grave digger in this little section. Arthur Mullert, who left us in 95. He often played Cockney. And he was in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, which had Benny Hill in it. And he was often on Benny Hill's show, The Benny Hill Show. He was also in The Haunted Strangler. And he used to say that when they were having troubles with the show, they'd say, let's just send Arthur out on stage for a little while, but not too long because he'll take over. So, I think he did well in this little piece. Bargain in Death. It was a lot like Cemetery Man. That was a good one.
I have a similar vision. Do you? Similar fear. Similar, but not quite.
It begins in a graveyard.
In a grave.
A freshly dug grave. My grave. Buried alive. How did it happen? I remember now. I remember.
It's a surefire plan, Alex. Now this will cut down my pulse and heartbeat, my entire metabolism, so that even the best doctor will think that I'm dead. Now, these are pills I'd be taking if I had a heart condition, so it'll look as though I've had an attack.
There'll be no trouble getting a death certificate.
Now, you must make absolutely sure that I'm buried not more than 24 hours after I die. Then all you have to do is wait until night, dig me up, and I'll hide at your place while you collect the insurance money. And we're off and away. You know, it would have made a really great story. I'd have been lucky to get £50 for it. There's no money in horror. Once you've collected the insurance money, friend Alex, I shan't need you anymore.
The perfect plan. Perfect. The perfect plan, except for one thing.
I'll never learn it. I will never pass the anatomy course.
Trouble is, we can only work in the dissection room for the short periods we're assigned to it.
If only we had a body of our own.
What?
Well, we could work on it when we wanted to.
Mr. Maitland? Mr. Maitland?
Damn it!
Sorry if I gave you a fright. You got the money?
After we get the body.
What do you want his body for?
We're ghouls.
They're giving out. Hurry, Alex. Hurry.
Watch where you're throwing it, will you? Hey? Throw it that way. Oh. Sorry.
Did you hear a cough? No. No.
Should be just about waking up now. I wonder how long it'll take before he realizes his friend Alex isn't coming.
Give me the money now. It's all yours. Sorry about the head.
A preposterous story. It seemed so real. Almost as if you were going to do it.
But why that one?
But is it illegal to kill somebody that's already dead? You know, that's kind of an important question. They made a movie where a gal gets set up by her husband for his own death. She goes to prison, serves her time, and when she gets out, she finds him still alive. Which raises the really important question. If someone has faked their death, can you legally kill them? Especially if you've already been to prison for it. Don't know. Now, this is my second favorite piece, only because of the actor in it, who I adore, like many of us. As I always complain about, if you're a British actor for any period of time, you'll wind up in a Doctor Who piece. And this guy certainly did. Tom Baker is in this. A lot of people wouldn't look at him to realize that he spent 6 years in a monastery. Very interesting. Maggie Smith, Anthony Hopkins, and Sir Laurence Olivier helped get him his first serious role as Rasputin, the Mad Monk, which he did an excellent job in. I mean, he's got those eyes and that nose and very commanding voice. He was also in The Golden Voyage of Sinbad as a sorcerer. Did a great job with that. Back Time, which is a weird little movie. We may get to have that one. And Fun in a Funeral Parlor. And why is a funeral parlor not fun? You have, little casket races and everything. It'll be awesome. This also has Denholm Elliott. We got that name right. Left us in 92. He was in the Royal Air Force. And I never realized, I gotta watch him again when we get into this, he's got no right thumb. Man has no right thumb. He did a lot of work. He was in the Indiana Jones franchise. And when he passed away, they actually make a comment about, he's not here anymore. He was in Trading Places and Bradbury Theater. Now, as I said, he died in 92, and he died of AIDS. And after his death, it came out that he was, in fact, bisexual, although he always said that he got AIDS from a blood transfusion, which a lot of stars in Hollywood said that. And this would have been Badger time when they weren't paying attention to this. So it's entirely possible that that is exactly what happened, or that he picked it up on his own because, sadly, no one was watching this sort of vector control, not like we do now. So, Denholm Elliott, one of the people that helped us realize that we have to take better care of ourselves. Well, let's get into Drawn and Quartered. Gee, everyone's a critic, aren't they?
Why that particular nightmare?
Why are you interested in his nightmare? It's yours that you're really concerned with, isn't it?
Mine begins on an island. A tropical island. The island of Haiti.
Hey! Hey! Why don't you remember me?
Bob. Bob Dixon! What are you doing here?
I had some business in Port-au-Prince. I heard your name mentioned in a bar. How's the work going?
Not bad, I think. Self-portrait. But like all my work, scorned, considered worthless.
What do you mean worthless? I saw one sold only a few weeks ago for £5,000.
5,000? Sold by whom?
Arthur Gaskell. In his gallery, he sold it on behalf of Lawrence Stilton.
But why such a price?
Your pictures. They've been highly praised by no less an art critic than Fenton Breedley.
Fenton Breedley?
Fenton?
What do you wish?
To buy voodoo.
Why?
To get revenge on those who wronged me.
What do you do?
I'm an artist.
Put the hand you paint with into a pot.
No.
You want voodoo? You must do it.
Now what? Do I get a little doll to stick pins into?
You are an artist. You don't need doll. Now, go.
This'll get me to London, and then you'll get it all back, and lots more. Thanks.
Glad your old studio was available.
Yes.
Nice to see you back.
Yep. Thank you.
Oh, I bought the safe exactly as you said in your letter. And here's the combination.
Thank you.
I bought you some milk and bread in case you wanted a cup of tea.
Yes, thank you. You cheated me.
You cheated yourself. If you had any faith in your work, you wouldn't have listened to what Fenton said about your paintings or what Arthur said about their saleability. You wouldn't have sold them to me at the price you did.
You were all in it together.
That's the way of the world. You buy cheap, you sell dear.
And pay a critic to tell lies so you can do it. No. You cheated me, all three of you. And I'm going to have revenge. Fenton Breedley, art critic, you saw my pictures and you lied about them to the public. Now, Mr. Art Critic, you will never see another picture again.
tell you, she doesn't mean a thing to me.
How long have you been seeing her?
Look, darling, it doesn't mean I don't love you. You're my wife, but we're living in the 20th century now.
You'll never see another woman again.
Arthur Gaskell, art dealer. You lied to me. You told me that my pictures were worthless and that you couldn't handle them. You won't handle anything again.
No, that's not the way. You're doing it all wrong. Look. I don't know why we employ you. Now watch. Like that, see? Just use your intelligence. I'll show you once more. See?
Now, Mr. Dilton, you can wait until tomorrow.
Mr. Moore is here to see you. He doesn't have an appointment.
Tell him to come in, and then you can go.
Read about them then. Now it's your turn. You have 2 minutes to live.
Don't move.
Just want to show you something. It's only a pen. A red felt pen.
that's your story. Well, we all have our cross to bear, haven't we?
But it seems so real. Almost as if it happened.
Happened?
Or could.
You think that our fears could be a sort of warning? A warning of what may happen?
Nonsense.
Where are we? That's how it is. And how it always will be. Night after night, we have to retell the evil things we did when we were alive. Night after night, for all eternity.
Yes, I can hear them in the background saying this was bad. I hope you liked our little movie tonight. It's one of the better ones. It's a classic piece. Great Tales from the Crypt, which should be shown to people, especially that last story, that people who want to criticize, you never know what's going to happen. So with that, let's see about our Netflix and chill moment. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, and where are you? Tonight's Netflix movie is 2307 Winter's Dream. Mankind has polluted the planet, and we're in a deep global warming, which has caused snow for some reason. And boy, we'd be in real trouble if it weren't for the slaves, but they are revolting. This is a very low-budget film, but I think it worked well. The virtual CG stuff they did actually works out pretty well. So, a light sci-fi movie, but not a bad one. And it's got an uplifting theme at the end, so check it out. 2307, A Winter's Dream. Now, other things you should check out is June 10th, Nightmare Island is having their halfway to Halloween party. So go on down. You can look for them on Facebook. And I think they're still looking for vendors. I'm not entirely sure. But certainly a great place to go. Now, I'm going to be at San Francisco Comic-Con that weekend, June 8th through 10th, so I can't be there. But if you don't get to go to that one, come to this one. Or the one after it, which is Sinister Creature Con, June 20th through 23rd. I will, of course, be at San Diego Comic-Con, June 20th through 23rd, over in the Grassy Knoll, next to the drinks and the refreshments, and more importantly, the bathroom, because Mom can't go anywhere without a bathroom. And, of course, after that, we have WorldCon, August 6th through 20th. I think that's wrong. I don't think it's actually that long. Well, I'll have to check later. At any rate. Now, if you're seeing me on the TV, make sure to tell your provider that you enjoyed watching me. And if you're seeing me on the computer, down here there's a button for like, subscribe, thumbs up, something. All those things help me. And of course, if you want to see other shows of mine, just check out the website, thecreaturesfeatureshow.com. You can see our last 4 or 5 movies and a couple of special ones back in the vault. So, until next week, remember, he's Bob, I'm Al, and we'll see you at the movies. Yeah, I got to check the calendar there. I'm always bad without a calendar.